Namaste. I am Sweta, and on behalf of the Hindu Temple Society of North America, we welcome everyone to the 47th session of the Unique Learning Series. This session, as you all know, is organized by Akshayam, the young professionals team of the New York Ganesh Temple. The topic this month that we're going to discuss is Agni and its significance. To contemplate on the said subject, please join me in welcoming Sivasri Ravi Vaidyanath Sivacharya, the Director of Religious Affairs of our temple.
Namaste.
Namaskaram, Sri Sivacharya. Thank you so much for joining us today. May I request you to begin this session with a prayer?
Okay. Harihi Om Sadhashivasamarambham Srikantacharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Vagharta Vivasampraktau Vagharta Pratipattaye Jagatah Pitarau Vande Parvati Parameshwarau Arogyam Satkavitvam Matimatulabhalam Kantimayuh Prakarsham Vidyamaishwarya Martham Sutamapi Labhate Stotra Surya Prasadhat Harihi Om. Thank you.
Thank you for the prayer. We feel blessed. Before we start this session, I just want to remind all the viewers that they can post their comments on the comment section of the YouTube and Facebook page. So, jumping to today's topic, we have seen that Agni, or the sacred fire, is ignited in various rituals, and it transcends the culture and tradition of various faiths. So, I wish to hear from you about the significance of Agni.
Okay. Thank you, Sweta. Thanks for the first question. As you said, any ritual in our tradition would always comprise the element of Agni.
Mm.
In a normal circumstance, Agni means a common man thinking. He refers Agni means a sacred fire, and which is ignited in a container, which could be called as a kund or a kundam, or simply for layman understanding, like a fire pot or a fire pit. So if any ritual is done, people think that is what Agni means. And of course, Agni remains always an integral part of our tradition. And let us know more about its significance and symbolism in the whole session. If you look at our sacred Veda, the very first prime Veda, which is Rig Veda, the very first verse of Rig Veda starts with Agnimile Purohitam Yajnasya Devam Ritvijam Hota Aram Ratnadhata Mam. It says so. The very first word in Rig Veda starts with Agni. Agnimile Purohitam. So also, if you take the Sama Veda, there also the very first verse begins with the word Agni. Agna ayahi vitaye grunano havyadataye nihota sasti barhishi. It says like that. So Agni is the foremost in our, whether it is religious text or in our tradition or in ritual or everywhere. Then you take again, Rig Veda further explains how the Agni has to be conceived by us, or how we should understand. It is not just a fire alone. It is treated as a divinity, a divine force. How is it? If you, same Rig Veda says, Indram, I'll just give the Padachedam of the verse, total verse. It talks about like saying Indram, Mitram, Varunam, Agnim, Ahuhu, Atho iti divyaha sa suparna garutman, it says. So the second line says like ekam sat vipraha bahuda vadanti agnim yamam matarishwan ahu, it says. So what this verse in Rig Veda means, Agni should be treated as a divine force. Agni should be treated as a divine energy, or it is an object of divinity, and it is to be treated equivalent to Almighty. So not only Agni, as also the Rigveda says, like Agni, there are other things like Indram, Mitram, Varunam, along with Agni. So there are multiple. Even though our Vedic text says our Brahman is one, or we believe in only one God system, but still that is why they clarify in the second line says Ekam Sat Vipraha Bahuda Vadanti. It says Ekam means one. For us, God is only one, but based on the attributes or the functions or the characters or the blessings, we visualize the God in different form. That's why Ekam Sat Vipraha Bahuda Vadanti. So we just say God in different form, different manifestation, different attributes, even though our God is one. So Agni is also one such divinity. Agni is also one such divine force. So it is given the status of Devata. So Agni as a Deva. Okay. Then take also Atharva Veda. What it says, how do we honor the Agni or conceive the Agni in our day-to-day life? So Atharva Veda very clearly says like prathar agrim pratharindram havamahe prathar mitra varuna prathar ashvina. That means like Rigveda, Atharva Veda also says in the morning, once you get up from the bed in the morning at dawn, it says please invoke the God, which is Agni, it says. So Pratar Agni. Prata means morning. Agni. So first thing in the morning, you take you just invoke Agni. It says. Similarly, at dawn, you invoke supreme power Indra. So like Pratar Agni, Pratar Indram, Havamahe, Pratar Mitra, Varuna, like that. So all this God you invoke in the morning, and then finally it says Rudram Havamahe. So only finally the Rudra have to be invoked into sacred fire or through Agni, like that it says. So like that Agni plays a very important role. So I told that Agni as a Devata. Now not only that, our Vedic text also says Agni is classified as either like it's like heat, light, fire and radiation. So Agni can be referred in any of the form, and it becomes part of the Panchabhuta. And all of us know what is Panchabhuta: Prithvi, Apu, Teju, Vayu, Akasha. So Agni is given equal status among five uh, no natural element. Okay, it's called as Panchabhuta. Of course, even in our human body, we have all our, like what we have five senses. It works along with the five bhuta, and even the science also talks about this Panchabhuta, and then it talks about how the energies are conceived in the planet Earth and things like that. We can contemplate this in further in our next course. That's about the thing. So Agni is a natural element. Agni is a Devata also. So that much we will say now. Let us go to the for maybe next questions we can.
Okay. So thank you for telling us about the significance of Agni. We hear about Agni, about the various manifestations of Agni within us, and also Agni as a supernatural deity. So could you tell us a little bit about the various manifestations of Agni?
Okay. I think in the between itself there is a question which is
Yeah.
related to this. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, see, as I said in our no, your question is based on what are the different kind of manifestation. Because when you talk about the God, no, there we talk about the attribute, we talk about the characters, we talk about the blessings, we talk about the manifestation, all this thing. Now, how Agni manifested within us, within the human system, not only in human system, all living entities. But let us talk about the human system first, for us to understand the manifestation of Agni within us. So I said no, Agni can be termed as fire, heat, or radiation, or light, is it not? So within us, this is formed in different way within us. So for example, uh, you know. Uh, we have something called as a digestive system, human digestive system. So in the under human digestive system, heat is a must. Without heat, digestion doesn't take place in our body. And this is called as Jataragni. So there is a digestive fire which is manifested within us, which helps in our digestion, human digestion system. So Jataragni is one thing. Jatara Agni. Now that is the second one is our knowledge is also referred as Agni, because knowledge is it illuminates within us the skill set, the knowledge within us, whatever we have conceived. It illuminates the knowledge, it illuminates our intelligence, our mind, our wisdom, our cleverness. All these things are coming out, or it comes like a luminous light, which is called as jnanagni. So Jnana Agni is we don't say just say Jnana. Like a digestive fire, Jnana is also treated as a Jnana Agni. We also have next uh, some of the characters of human being is at times we get anger. Okay, which is in Sanskrit it is called as krodha. The anger also will come out of us, and there is a fire in it. We used to say, fire in the belly. So like that, there is a fire in our anger which forces us. So that fire is a fire of anger is called as krodhagni. So not only an anger, we also have there is a fire of passion and fire of desires. Though those are called kamagni. So we have Jataragni, Jnanagni, Krodagni, and Kamagni within us. So these are all forming part of the natural element Agni or fire. As also I told you about uh, the supernatural Agni. Okay, so that's about this. And let me give another. We spoke about Agni within us. Let us talk about Agni in the in our day-to-day application also. Come to the, of course, the for us what guide us is our Vedic text. So we'll find out what Vedic text tell us in terms of how do we apply or use Agni in our day-to-day life. So it is classified under Vaidika Agni. Vaidika Agni, that means one who follow the Vedic text and apply Agni is called as Vaidika Agni. Now, why I called it as Vaidika Agni? See, as I told earlier, like Krodagni, Jnanagni, Jataragni, like that, the Agni that we use at home is also called as a Yajna. Some people call it as a Yajna or Yajna. It is nothing but Yaga plus Agni. You are doing Yaga with Agni. So, Yaga plus Agni is Yagni or Yagna, or some people call it as Yajna. Okay, so that is why it is called as yajna. But in there are different type of yajna that we perform at. If you remember, yaga plus agni is yajna, and what do we do at home? It's what we have to see. Now, as I told you earlier, we have to look at agni as heat, light, and fire, like that. No, so the Veda says in the earth we represent fire as agni, whereas in the atmosphere we refer the light as Agni. And in the sky, we refer sun as Agni. But for all these things, the source is sun. So the sunlight, what it comes, the sun rays or sun radiation. So that is at the sky level. At the atmospheric level, it is light. And at the ground level, it is Agni. And Agni, you will find always, if you pour water, due to gravity, it flows down. Whereas Agni will never go in the downward direction. It is always in the upward direction. So this is one of the important feature or characteristic of Agni. We use Agni to connect ourselves with the divinity. So the very first verse, what I told in the Rigveda, Agni Mile Purohitam. So Purohita means it is it's for a common man understanding, we can call simply as a priest. Agni will act as a priest, or Agni will act as a chaplain. We call religious chaplain or faith chaplain. So Agni act as a Agni Mile Purohitam Yajnasya Deva Mritvijam. So Agni act as a purohita for us. That means, okay, here you have to see the what Agni does. Agni can it can consume whatever you offer as an oblation, and it also transforms your offerings to the god, and it also conveys your prayer to the god. Because of this characteristic of Agni, we use Agni as in our prayers. But the main reason we use Agni, because I said no, Agni will always flow on the topward, not from top to bottom. You light a fire, you will always see the jwala or the flame is facing upward. So which is said that it will reach the higher world. So that's one. Now let us talk about what kind of application we do at home. It is like yaga plus agni. I said yajna. Similarly, in the same text, agni mile purohitam yajnasa deva mritijam hotaram ratnadhatamam, it says hota. So agni and hota. So combinedly, it is called as agnihotra. What we do at home is called as agnihotram. Now, like Agnimide Purohitam, like Purohitam is a word used like a chaplain or a Purohit or a priest. Similarly, Hota also is a priest. Like, we used to call it as a Karta. The Karta is the one who performs the yajna, and Hota is the one who read the text, who help the Karta to perform the yajna. So it is called as Agnihotra. At home, what we do is Agnihotra. There are different type of Agnihotra. It's guided by Srauta, Smarta, Vihita, like that. There are some text in Vedic text which guide us. Let us explain you why do we do this at home. There are different purpose we do the Agni. One is to do the I think you can show the picture. I think it was good. I can explain about this. And there are different type of application we use at home. One is simply to keep the fire as a symbolism of divinity. Always in Agnihotra, the Agni, that's why in your puja room, we light a lamp. The lamp is not put off. Throughout the day, it will be there. So, which is called as the sacred fire is used as a symbol of divinity. That is application number one. Now, application number two is you can offer prayers through Agni so that your prayer is taken to the Supreme Almighty. Third one is, in our Vedic text, we always says you may, during our course of day, we may commit a lot of errors and omissions and commit fault, all those things. No? So there is a procedure using the fire to do some kind of a prayaschitta or expiation of guilt, for which you also use the same fire. And the same fire is also used to offer your prayers like that. So all these things carries different name. When you light a lamp, it is called as Deepa. When you do a homa to the god, it is called as Ahavaniyam. And then when you do a homa for an ancestor ritual at home, it is called as Dakshinagni. Or when you do Agnihotram, or you can do it is our daily routine. We have to do Agnihotra, we have to do homa, we can do yajna. It is also called as Nityagni or Samitadhana or Aupasana, like that, which are done for various home related rituals. So they are called as in short as Vaidik Agni. Now I think let me go to, we do also use Agni at temples. So what is it called as? In temple, it is called as, commonly it is called as Shivagni. Like how at home it gives you different names, it takes different name, but similarly at temple also, it takes a different name. There also it is applied like Deepa is lighted continuously, non-stop. It will never be put off throughout the day when the temple is open. Similarly, you offer Dhupa, which is also a important thing. You do Deepa Upachara. A different type of deepas are shown around the deity. It is called as Deepa Upachara or Deepa Alankara. Okay, and you also light Laksha Deepa. Everyone comes to temple are asked to light a lamp. Is it not? Like in churches, they light a candle. In temple, they light a small lamp, whether using ghee or oil. So it signifies yeah, uh, divinity, and then connectivity is created using the Agni. By lighting a lamp, we get mentally satisfied. Yes, we have offered our prayers like that. Like Homa done in home, Homa is also done at temple. It's done in a very scientific way. We are going to talk about science a little later, but I will, with this picture, I'll show you what normally in temple it is not called as yajna or yaga like that. It is called as yaga shala there. In home, it is the smaller scale. In temple, it will be always done in a large scale. There will be either a one. Okay, before that, I should also tell you at home, we use only one homa. Even when you have to do multiple on a day, you have to do one after the other like that. Only one kundam, one agni at home. Whereas in temple, there could be a multiple agni kundas, multiple yajnas can be done at parallel. You can do with ekagni. It's called as ekagni, means one agni, two up to, like, panchagni, navagni, like that. It goes up to uttama paksha, which is 36 kundam you can light at a time parallelly. So that is how it is. Now, if you see the layout of the yagashala, typical yagashala in a temple, of course, Agni plays an important role. So I'm just showing using my cursor here. So the Agni Kunda is here, and all around there are several kalashas and all. Of course, we have discussed this particular thing very much in our during the our Kumbhabhishekam kind of lectures we have seen. Also, exclusively for Homa, we had a session in which we have explained it. So here, if you see, the Agni plays an important role, and also the Pratana Kalasha. So in temple, the divinity is invoked in different form. So divinity is invoked in the Pradhana Devata, in the stone Vigraha. Divinity is invoked in the Utsava Murtis in a metallic structure. And divinity is also invoked in Kalashas. And divinity is invoked in Agni. And divinity is invoked in pictures. So you will find divinity everywhere, all around the temple. So of which Agni also plays an important role in representing the divinity. So, like in home, it is given different name. Here, the Agni takes the name of the havan done for a particular purpose. Suppose if I do a homa for Ganapati, it will be called as Ganapati Homa. So that Agni takes the name of or invoked divinity in that Agni is Ganapati. So it is called as Ganapati Homa. If I invoke Rudra in it, so for the purpose of Rudra Homam. So then the Agni takes the name of Rudra. So Rudra Yagam or Rudra Homam, like that. If I do Sudarshana Homam, then the Agni takes the name of Sudarshana. So the divinity Sudarshana is invoked in Agni. So like that, the every Homam takes the name of that divinity for which we are doing the prayer. So that's about one thing. Now, not only the Agni, take even the god there. For example, you have seen a lot Shiva in a temple. Shiva is called as Soma Surya Agni Lochana in it says. So there is a Soma, the one eye, Surya is another eye, and Agni into your uh, in between the eyebrows. So like that. Similarly, you take Subramanya. Subramanya is called as Agni Bo. So he is also a form of Agni. And coming to you take Durga for example, and all are familiar with Durga Suktam, is it not? You go line by line of Durga Suktam, you will find Agni, the element of Agni in Durga Suktam. Every line. See, the very first line start with Jata Vedase Sunava Masoma Marathi Eto Nidahati Vedaha. It says Jata Vedas. That means one who is born out of fire. The Durga, the manifestation of Durga is coming out from a fire. I think the slides can be removed. So Jata Veda means the Durga is emerging out of fire. And then say the second word, Sanah Parishadati Durgani Vishwa Nave Vasindum Durita Dhyagnihi Agni. There also the fire of the Durga itself is described as a fire god. Agni Devata. Durga is also called as Agni Devata. Then the next line it says, Tam Agni Varnan Tapasa Jwalantim, it says. So that means Durga has taken the color of Agni. Even she is, her color is like a Agni. So it says, Tam Agni Varnam Tamasa Jwalantim. So illuminous. She is illuminating like a fire in that color, says. So then Agne Tvam Paraya, that's what it says. Then Agne Atrivan Manasa Grinano, it says. So that means here also, people when they pray, they say, "Oh Agni," they pray. So Durga is also addressed as "Oh Agni" in that form. So then again take the next line, Pritana Jitagam Sahamana Mugram Agnigam Huvema Parama Sadastahat. So he says, when you invoke Agni, automatically goddess Durga comes there to help you. Even though, for example, any other homam you do, when automatically she comes there and address all your prayers and satisfy you, and by answering all your prayers. Then again, Sana Parishadati Durga Nivishwa Kshama Devo Ati Durita Dhyagnihi. Say, so here the prayer to Agni in the form of Durga. It says, "Oh God, Agni, please protect us from all difficulties." Because Durga is to protect. So we are praying that Durga will protect us. So there also it is Agni Swarupa. Swancha Agne Tanuvam, we pray like that. So the end line, the last line also end with Agni. So there it says, "O Agni, make us delighted with your form." So you just say Durga line by line, the suktam, whole suktam is with Agni. So Agni is Devata, Agni is fire, Agni is heat, Agni is uh, you can say radiation. Everything is treated as Agni. Now, before going to the next question, the last one about this is it also says it's our duty to respect Agni. It says in the Atharva Veda. I've given you example in each one Veda. So let me give an example in Atharva Veda. Atharva Veda says, Yajnena Yajnamayajanta Devaha Tani Dharmani Pratamanya Te Hanakam Mahimana Sachante Etra Purve Sadhya Santi Devaha. It says, that means Yajnena Yajnamaya Janta Deva. It says, that means even so many other devas worship the Supreme Brahman using Agni, it says. And then they were answered based on their prayer of, and then got good knowledge, and then happiness, and they all given the positions in the heavens. So it says, when you do the prayers using Agni as a media or Agni as a devata, it is said Sadhya Santi Sadhya Devata, it says. So Sadhya, like, it is a blessed happiness and feel that you will get when you do a prayer using Agni as your Devatas. So I think I've taken this is one of the lengthiest answers. So you can go to the next
But
question.
thank you for the detailed answer. So my next question is that you spoke about how Agni is used in the Vedic rituals.
Yes.
So could you just tell us about how Agni is used in any Vedic ritual, and a little bit about the science behind the homas or yajnas?
Yeah. It's very important nowadays. We are all living in the digital age. Okay, everything is questioned nowadays. So we don't just like that blindly accept anything without some kind of evidences and proofs and things like that. So in the age of I'll say in this digital age, we are in a position to enjoy our lifestyle using modern gadgets and tools, which are of course obviously innovatively designed by our present scientists. But you should look back our Vedic text, and then you will wonder how advanced our rishis or sages and saints were in their discoveries and in their revelations. Whatever they did, they revealed immediately in the religious text. And it still hold good even today and forever. Whatever they reveal is truth forever, I should say. Not like in modern day science, there is something known as obsolescence. There is, we call it as, simply called as a technological obsolescence, but there is no such obsolescence in Vedic text, because there the motive is we go towards the truthfulness. Our objective is always toward the supreme truth. So there is no obsolescence in our path. There is nothing we can say that this is obsolete like in science. But we have a tendency to believe with scientific evidences and things like that. So I would like to go back to the slides which were shown now, where I can just give little science about it. Okay. So coming back to the Yagashala, let me explain you. Of course, these like if I say Veda is pure theory, Agama is practical. If Veda is science, Agama is technology. If Veda is physics, Agama is metaphysics. So without Agama, you will not be able to experience. With Veda, it gives all philosophical explanations, very fine. It gets stored in our head. But how do we put into our day-to-day use, for which you need to refer to Agama? So, as I said, if Veda is science, Agama is technology. So we have to combinedly look at science and technology, we say. No, we don't say science or we don't technology. So it goes together, science and technology. So like that, what is that? We also call it theory and practice. It should go together. Otherwise, it will be purely. So now Agama explains the science behind the Vedic text. So it's a, for example, you take Kamik Agama, which gives the Tantravatara Patala, which talks about the treatise of on all rituals that you involve, you do it, and it talks about the geometrical characteristic of the fire pit, geometrical characteristics, the way the kalashas have to be, placed in a systematic procedures, and then the geographical direction of north, south, east, west. Every minor things have been considered in a yagasala setup. I can call the whole setup here, what I'm showing in this drawing is, you can call it as a cosmic energy enlargement center. So we are all focus and do meditation and yoga and concentrate. But when you want to offer something for a mass public who don't do meditation, who don't do things, so you should give them the same kind of feeling or experience if they sit for meditation and yoga and prayer. Even those who does not offer the prayers, who does not do the um, chanting, who only comes and participate, they should also get blessing. They should also get the cosmic energy. So temple or the yagasala setup is meant for creating a cosmic energy, and then it infuses directly on everyone who is walking across uh, the area. You don't need to even receive it. It will be infused on us. The energy will get infused on us. So this is how the setup, if you see, I think it's very, very small, no problem. See, if you see, it talks about north, south, east, west direction, and you can see the Ishana Mula, and then this is the Ishana Mula, where you have a Yaga Yageshwara, the head of Yagas, the divinity responsible for head. Then on your on your left side, you will see, which is sun and Agni, which is called as, that is why this area is always called as Agni Mula. Why it is called as Agni Mula is because both sun and Agni are positioned in this place. That is why in Vastu they call this area as a Agni Mula, and there is a Havis which is made in this place. Then diagonally opposite, if you go, you will see Soma Kumbha. Soma means Chandran. So Chandra is a borrower of light. it borrows light from the sun and reflects back when sun is not seen by us. So that means in the night time, the Chandra takes care of supplying light to the earth, and it borrows the light from the sun. So that is why it is diagonally opposite. It is kept. Then you'll also see the water body or the liquid body. So this area is called as Varuna. So Agni, Indra, Agni, Yama, Varuna, Vayu, Kubera, Isana, like that. No, every direction has been considered, and all the kalashas are placed in each location, and the whole setup keep creating energy when the kalasha is lit. Now I'll go to the next slide. Now we know what is kalasha, what is uh, kundam, and then what is bimbam. Now I'm classifying. Now from that I'm coming to macro level. So the kundam is referred as Agni. Okay, Agni is the something that keep on creating hot junction in that area. Then you take kalasas. Every kalasa is filled with water, which can be treated as a cold junction. And our prayer is always to a divinity. Okay, we invoke either Ganesha in this kalasam, we invoke Ganesha in the Agni, we invoke Ganesha in the Vigraha, or in the, which is called as the Bimbam. So let me go to the science, how in the next slide. See, if you connect a hot junction and a cold junction, and if you connect through a metallic cable between this hot and cold junction, there is a potential difference which you can measure it through a voltmeter, okay, which is fixed here. There is a voltage created, there is an energy created, there is a potential energy created if you connect hot and cold junction. So I am replacing the hot junction with Agni Kundam or with the Homam Kunda, and I am replacing the cold junction with the Kalasha, and both are connected through a silver lead, which is a metallic lead, which is very good. Actually, the platinum lead is supposed to be connected, but for the economic reason, people always connect a silver lead, and then there is a darba grass which cross over this to protect from the bad elements, and then the energy is transferred to the bimbam, which is the deity here. So this is how the you will feel the cosmic energy in a temple when you attend the yagashala. So the same thing is explained in science also, which is called as Seebeck effect and Petlier effect, which is talks about the thermodynamics principle, thermoelectric system, all those things. Maybe you can go back to my earlier presentation and see that. So this much of thing you could see in a Homa ritual. It is not just a ritual; it's a pure science, and it is not just science to be looked at for our education purpose. It is for us to enjoy, for us to experience the cosmic energy. Okay, so there is a divinity, there is a science, there is a technology. Everything is combined in the process, of which Agni plays an important role. Thank you. We can go to the next question.
So thank you for talking about the science behind the homas. So now we wanted to ask you, how do you light the fire for the religious purposes?
Oh, this is a very, very good question. Normally what we do at home to light fire, we use a matchstick, is it not? Or we use a lighter to light the gas. So these are all the typical method that we use. But when it is a divine nature, we don't use chemical, because everything should be organic, everything should be a proper way. We don't use a chemical because the lighter uses a chemical component to light, okay, or a matchstick is also again something, whereas the Agni is produced by us by natural means. There are different way of doing it. So I think one method which is very, very ancient, I will show you in a slide, which uses it's basically as a wooden plank with a bow kind of arrangements, with a rope tied in the axis. And when you just drill when you move the bow from one side to other side, it create a friction underneath, and then you will find a spark coming out. So that spark is captured using a darba grass or using a cotton or like that. So then the Agni is transferred to the kunda. Similarly, there are also method like, suppose even directly from the sunlight also you can, by using a magnifying lens, you can concentrate on the sunlight and then have some darba grass and some little cotton in the bottom, it will catch fire. So by the natural means, you create the fire, you ignite the fire, and then do it instead of using some chemical, because chemical means something, like it becomes an inorganic things. So it has to be an organic, it should be nature. So we use these are all various ancient method which are used to create. Now even this is to create a fire which we see. I was also talking about Jataragni, Jnanagni and all. When you do a Bhuta Shuddhi or cleansing of your body, in the yoga, you are taught about cleansing. Okay, when you do the cleansing and you are told to do a meditation from your Ajna Chakra, and it is told how do we visualize inside, you should be in a position to capture a spark of light from the space, and then start then automatically the divinity comes into it. So there also we naturally capture the spark of a light and then start meditating. So everywhere in our day-to-day use, you will be using light. Without light, there is nothing in our day-to-day life. Thank you. I think we can go to the next question.
So, we also know that Agni is an integral part of wedding ceremonies. So, what is the purpose of lighting a fire for wedding ceremonies?
Good, good. I think we spoke only initially about different type of homa done at home and at temples and its signs. Now, in our major rituals, one of the major ritual in our family is wedding ceremonies. Very important in every family. So there also Agni plays an important role. See, you remember I told Agni is to be treated as a natural element, Panchabhuta. Agni is to be treated as a divine source or divine energy. Agni is also to be treated as a devatas, like that. So here in wedding ceremony, Agni is invoked in the homa as a devata. And why that devata? Of course, there is also Brahman. Brahma also is invoked, and Agni is also invoked. And this Agni is invoked not only for us to offer a prayer, that the bride and bridegroom, not just only to offer a prayer, it is also to seek the permission from the divinity Agni Deva to witness our wedding. So, like we have a physical witness for our registration of wedding. So here Agni and Brahma becomes a witness. Two witness, no? We know we always say we need two witness in the wedding for a legal marriage. Similarly, in a ritualistic marriage, we need two witness. You will have one Brahman. Brahma also will be there, which will be in a human form, because they will invoke Brahma by calling one of the priests, and then he will act as a Brahma, because he has to physically see and carry out the certain rituals. Similarly, Agni is also invoked and invited to be a witness for this wedding. So that's why we call it as a Agni Shakshi. In wedding, you must have heard about the word called Agni Shakshi. Agni becomes a witness for your wedding. Brahma becomes a witness for your wedding. And also, okay, there are a lot of rituals. It all depends on family tradition. Each family have customized several ritual around Agni. So they go around Agni. Some people go around 7 times, 3 times, like that, and then they call it as a Saptapati and things like that. There are a lot of rituals surrounding Agni. But major purpose is Agni will become a Sakshi. Agni as a witness for a wedding. Agni as a Devata for us to pray. And Agni also help us in bonding between bride and bridegroom by circumambulating around the Agni 7 times and things like that. Thank you. That's why it is used in wedding.
Okay.
Okay. Next question.
So, we wanted to ask you, what are the other benefits of Agni? We've heard that certain yagyas are performed that could fetch rain. So,
Yes.
can you elaborate on that?
Okay. Okay. I think this is also another good thing. We should also know for public purpose, we can use Agni. See, we said Agni can be used at home, at temple, at rituals and weddings, all those things. The kings and the rulers of the country, they can also use Agni for the benefit of the people. So how do they make use of the ruler of the country, which means the king or kingdom or the ruler or the head of a location, head of a land? He has to take care of all the citizens of his land, whoever is there. So he also uses Agni. For example, I'll give one or two example. Sometimes we have seen certain difficulties in some point of time. There is no rain during a particular point of time. So rain is an important resource for cultivation, is it not? Only if there is a good cultivation, you will have a good food. You can produce food. So you need a rain is a must. And then if you look at the Upanishad, Taittiriya Upanishad, Sikshavali, what does it says? Agni Purva Rupam. There also you just see it starts with Agni. Agni Purva Rupam. Aditya Uttar. Aditya means sun. Agni means fire. And initially I told no, the at sky it is sun, at atmosphere it is light, at earth it is fire. So here also the Taittiriya Upanishad Sikshavali says Agni Purva Rupam Aditya Uttara Rupam Apas Sandhihi. So it says these two have to meet the Jala or Apa. Apa means water. You know what science says? When there is a sunlight, when there is a sun rays falling on the earth, and then the water get evaporated and it is stored, it goes up and stays as a cloud, and clouds again falls back as a water. Is it not? This is a very simple science told to us in the school. Same thing the Taittiriya Upanishad is saying. I said that there is a sun at the sky, and then Apas Sandhihi. These two have a connection. Sandhi means there is a meeting point. Both sun and the ocean are meeting together for what purpose? To benefit the people of the earth. So by sun, because of the sun and this, they are meeting each other. Because of the heat and radiation of the sun, the water loses its a physical physicalness and get converted into a vapor and goes up and stays in the sky, in the atmosphere as a cloud. This is happening by nature. See how Rishi have studied this action. Now they have found a way and suggested the king or ruler of the country by saying, so like how the heat from the top goes to the bottom and it evaporates. Now the clouds are there, but rain is not coming. What should we do? So again, let us make use of the sun and the water, and like how sun is sucking the water, let us see how we can suck the cloud from the ground. So this is again a science. So our rishis have found a way. They do homas like Soma Yaga, Pavamana Yaga, like Prashitta Homa and Shanti Homa. There are certain homas which are prescribed for the ruler of the country to perform. When they perform this yajna, what happens here? I initially told in earth it should be treated as fire, in atmosphere light, and in the sky sun. So in the earth, what they do, they ignite fire, like Somayaga, Pavamana Homa, or Shanti Homam, or Praichitta Homam, like that. So they perform in a large scale. Homa is done, a fire is lit. So when the fire is lit, what happened? I already told you in the first question, the fire always facing upward, it goes up. So there is a prayer done. There are some ahuti. Ahuti means offerings are done. And I also told you the Agni element, what it does is it consumes, it transforms, and convey. So the all the you are. I also told you about Hota. There is a priest who chant a prayer seeking rain. So the karta does the homa, and the fire absorbs all the ahuti. It also, because it has to survive, for its survival it needs food, no? So it consumes some of the food, and then it transfer the offerings to the Indra. Indra is the head of all the devatas, no? It transfers the prayers to Indra, and Indra requests the clouds, and then, no, because of the, like how water is sending as a vapor, these offerings from the fire goes up, and it hits the cloud, and clouds converts in, it uh, comes back to us as rain. So you can even bring rain by using homa. Like that, there are different uh, things. So many things we can do. A lot of things in the for the welfare of the people. Okay, I think it's time. Maybe why not we have some? If there is any questions from the audience, we can take it up. Maybe one or two questions.
Yeah, we have a few questions. I
Okay.
can just combine two questions and quickly ask them. So,
Hmm.
there is a question: what is the significance of Deepa Puja, and is this puja a way to honor Agni? And on the same lines, somebody has asked whether even one valak at home is this
Uh,
considered a witness to the puja?
yes, yes. See, Agni is. As I told you, during wedding ceremony, we use Agni for a shakshi, to witness. Agni, if it is offered as a homa, see, everything we have to look at the application, where it is applied. But the element of Agni should always should have a presence in our home, should
Hmm.
have a presence in our temple, should have a presence in your business house, should have a presence in the kingdom, in the palace, everywhere. There should be element of Agni should be there. So we should know what application, how it should be utilized. So Vilaku represents the lamp, Deepa represents a divinity, a divine force. It will give us a mentally, we feel the divinity, the existence or prevalence of divinity in the house. It gives us such atmosphere.
Hmm.
So that gives you a feeling. And you can offer a prayer with a Deepa. So same Deepa is used, like as I told in temple, a Dupam is shown. It also have a Agni part in it, element in it. A Deepa, it has Agni element in it. A lamp or vilak is also having a Agni element in it. Depends on how you want to put to your use. You can
Hmm.
use it. It remains same. You treat Agni as a divinity, treat Agni as a god, or treat Agni as a natural element. No problem. But it has to be there at every place. I hope I answered the queries.
Yeah. So, I think with that we come to the end of today's session.
Mhm.
So I just want to thank Sri Sivacharya for joining us and for enlightening us on this subject.
Thank you. Mhm.
I also want to thank all the viewers for joining us live for this 47th session of the Unique Learning Series. I just want to make a few quick announcements. So, about the forthcoming events at the temple. So the temple invites everyone to join for a virtual multi-faith prayer service for the victims of the current Ukraine crisis. And this program will commence at 3 p.m. today. Holy Festival will be observed on Thursday, March 17th, and Panguni Uttaram will be observed on Friday, March 18th. And for detailed program schedules, sponsorship information, and the live streaming details, you can refer to our temple website www.nyganeshtemple.org or contact the information desk. So, with that, I want to thank everyone once again for joining us. Namaste.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you all.
thank you.